Hey, good afternoon, A10. Hope all is well. I hope you got a chance to see the snowbirds this morning, and they flew over our house this morning. It was pretty cool, and managed to get some pretty good pictures of it as well. And I think it's the first time I haven't had a cap on. New beginnings. There you go. So we're going to take chapter 7 of Ender's Game, entitled Salamander. And so he just played the Giant's Drink, and this is a psychological game to see what the person who's playing it, to see what choices they'll make in the game, and how far they will go in the game in order to win it. Ender's going all the way. Okay, so he went full out in this game, and it totally blew you know Anderson away, for one thing. Graf is like, okay, yes, this is the kind of guy we need. So the beginning of chapter 7, they're discussing the results of the game, and so it's more of an assessment of what's going on and what to do with Ender next. Because if you remember at the beginning of the novel, Graf is doing whatever he can to challenge Ender, take things away, or isolate him to the point where he has to find another way to bring himself to the forefront, and like get himself back in the game, so to speak, and start from the bottom and work your way up. Okay, so that seems to be a recurring process for Ender during or in this novel. Okay, so Salamander is a brand new troop or group. You remember that they were launchies first, so they start at the bottom and they keep moving up. Salamander is the next level up. And of course, now we're getting into competitions with other groups, and they have animal-like names. So this is called Salamander Army. And so once the results of the Giant's Drink game came in, Ender receives a message, says, Ender Wiggin, assigned Salamander Army, Commander Bonzo Madrid, effective immediately, code green, green, brown, no positions transferred. Remember the colors that were mentioned when they first arrived on Battle School? They had to follow certain colors to lead to their respective part of the school. Well, now he's going in another direction. So if you want to incorporate those colors in some form, you can certainly do that. Just be sure you cite your sources. So Alai is basically wishing him well, saying or giving him his best regards, and so on and so forth. And so he says salam, and Ender received a kiss from Alai, which is common in the culture of Alai. Now, remember, cultures in this reality is a lot of you don't focus on any religious ceremonial greetings or anything like that. Everybody's on the same page or viewed as in the same way, in order for you to have certain rights and privileges in society. So you have to give up a lot of of who you are, your identity, your especially if religion or cultural connections make you who you are. In order to work and fit in this society, you have to give it up. And so again, that's that freedom over security concept that is reoccurring throughout the novel. And so Ender guessed, if you look on page 69, if you have this book, I don't know what page it is in your other book. I think some other versions there. But Ender guessed that the kiss and the word were somehow forbidden. A suppressed religion, perhaps, or maybe the word had some private, powerful meaning for a lie alone. Whatever it meant to a lie, Ender knew that it was sacred, that he had uncovered himself for Ender, and once Ender's mother had done when he was very young, before they put the monitor in his neck, and she put her hands on his head when she thought he was asleep and prayed over him. Ender had never spoken of that to anyone, not even to his mother, but he kept it as a memory of holiness, of how his mother loved him when he thought that no one, not even he, could see or hear. That was what a lie had given him, a gift so sacred that Ender could not be allowed to understand what it meant. Okay, so Ender is going to use that as another memory to continue his drive, to keep himself focused, centered on the task at hand, and continue playing this game. Whatever they're going to throw at him, he knows he has that, and they can't take it away from him, and he's not going to let them take it away from him. So he returns to the Giants' drink. He keeps playing it until he will be victorious in that game. And remember, if you go back to chapter 1 or 2 there, where Ender says to the kids, this is what I do to people who bully me or threaten me, or whatever the case. I fight every single battle that will be coming. So if you want to continue with this is what you're going to get. And so he applies the same method and approach in his video games as well. So he heads off to his new group. Now, Bonzo, in the movie, there's more of an emphasis on Bonzo, based on the cultural dialect. So however you pronounce it, it's a Spanish name, so however you pronounce Bonzo Madrid in Spanish, then please express it accordingly. But I'm just going to call it Bonzo Madrid here. So, and so we find out Bonzo is he's very competitive. He's very he's kind of threatened of Ender's presence. He doesn't want Ender around. He feels he's got enough control over his group. He doesn't need anybody else to mess up his chances of becoming commander. We meet Petra, okay, and Petra will become a key support for Ender later on. But Bonzo doesn't like Ender right off the bat, and of course Ender has to start again from the bottom and work his way up to the top. And we're going to find out that Bonzo's going to do whatever he can to limit Ender's progress by not having him compete and stuff like that. But Petra is going to help train Ender, and with her help, we find out that who the real Ender is. So I have that phrase, will the real Ender stand up? With Petra's help, we do find out who the real Ender is eventually towards the end of the novel. Aside from that, Bonzo just despises Ender. And so then they have their battle simulations against other groups. And so Ender's not allowed to do anything, but Bonzo's plan to limit or minimize Ender's role in the games backfires, and Bonzo does not like that at all. So we find out that Ender will try to manipulate Bonzo, in whatever he can, just to make it look like Bonzo's still in control, but in reality, Ender is in control. Okay, and Bonzo picks up on that too, but and that's going to set us up for a major conflict later on. So, spoiler alert and foreshadowing coming up here. So, more games played against other groups, and we move on to chapter 8. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that for now. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll take up chapter 8, and then we'll get into summaries. All right, take care, be safe.